Yeah, hi everyone. So today we are going to discuss about OOPS concept like Java object-oriented programming concept. So these concepts are regarding like any programming language which has to follow a kind of OOPS concept. Then that particular language is called as is following like object-oriented programming. So there are like I told you right. There are we have like encapsulations. And inheritance and polymorphism abstraction. So what does these three four are like? Uh, any programming language which has to follow some set of rules, like whether it can be reusability, whether it can be accessibility, okay, security, or like a kind of hiding the data to others, something like so. So because of each concept, we have some specific derivation is there. So we'll go and learn in depth. Okay. The first one is the encapsulation. Basically, this talk about a particular Java class. So what exactly it is, right? There is a wrapping the data between the variable and the methods. So as we learn, right? So class which will contain variable and methods. So we are binding in the sense we are putting the data into together like variables and methods in a one place. Okay. So how do we achieve this one encapsulation? So basically declaring a variable as a private. Okay. So by declaring a private access modifier as a variable and providing that like public methods, which can be public method, which can be private method. So it depends upon the exposing your method to others. So who is others? Others in the sense a different class, a different person is going to write a new functionality. So you have to like hide your data. You have to control your data yourself. And so what we need to do, we need to declare a private variable declaration. Okay. So to do that, what we will get there actually. Okay. So which means what are the benefits if you use this encapsulation? Okay. So we are restricting their data access to the other members. Okay. Suppose there is a, for example, there is a banking application. So minimum balance should be 500. Suppose other classes are going to access that particular class level variable. So they can update that minimum balance to zero as well. So that is the case. So such kind of common, okay, such kind of common variable or fields which can be marked as a like a private, and so we will give that a public access to the method whoever accessing that. So that way the encapsulation can be achieved. Okay. So to do that, we have to set the private variable and giving the getters and setters methods. Okay. So based on the getter setter method, so the user can or outside class member can access that the variable. Okay. So you got an idea about this, right? If anyone interview asks, right? So what is exactly the encapsulation is the wrapping of the data. So that is a variable. Okay. And binding the code is acting on the methods. Okay. All are together in a single unit. So which is called as the encapsulation. So how do we achieve that encapsulation is declaring a private variable. Okay, declaring a variable as a class level in the sense as a private variable. Okay, but our method should be a getters and setters. So by the way, people can only have a read access. They cannot update your data. So they cannot update your data. So by the way, we can satisfy or we can implement it as a encapsulation in our coding. So basically, this question will come like where you use encapsulation in Selenium automation or Playwright automation. So that is a real-time question. Okay. So this is the definition will give the actual answer. So what we have to do is we have to say that encapsulation is a kind of data wrapping the data between the methods and variables as a single unit. So whenever we are going to implement encapsulation. So I don't want to access my variable to others. So make them as a private declaration. So by giving the access of a getter setter method as a public methods, okay. So here it is mentioned. So as a public methods, not only getter setter method is a common type of method. Okay, you can give any public method. So you can public method, they can sometimes they can modify the read or write options. So based on that, a set of variable which may can update runtime or which may can review. Okay, read only access we can provide by using the encapsulation. Okay, so basically what we are doing, we are strictly restricting the direct access to the member of the field. Okay, so the data variable. So how do I achieving? Making them as a private declaration. Okay, so this is what the encapsulation. So let's create a one example on that. Okay, so I declare as a encapsulation class. So as I told you, right, wrapping the data between the variable. Okay, so we are declaring a variable and so we are mentioning a methods. So this is what a encapsulation. So whenever we have a class, so class is the best example for encapsulation. So which we need to follow a variable as a private. Okay, variable as a private. Okay, and we need to provide that public method. Okay, public get method. For example, set a. Okay, set a is a method to set the value. Okay, so this is what that exact implementation of encapsulation. Okay, so now what we are doing, we are providing a getter setter method. So public void get a. Okay, just yeah, this data returns right, return a, and it should be a int. So now what we have done in this example, so it is a very simple way to write the encapsulation. So we are making them a two kind of declarations. One is a variable declaration, method declaration. So we are binding that. We are binding in the sense we are putting in the single a class level. And what we are doing, so whenever we create any variable, okay, when we create a variable before that private in the sense, the scope, okay, the scope is within the class only. Suppose I want to use this variable in the like a multiple browser using if condition. So there we cannot access. Let me, I will show you that as well. Okay. So the declaration of a private is member, private is member is a private variable is within the scope is here only. So outside the class we cannot access. So we are restricting this particular a value. Okay. So we sometimes we can provide a read only access or write only access. It depends upon the. Okay, it depends upon the usage of the variable. Okay, so encapsulation, the variable, right? Variable can be sometimes read only. So read only sense just we'll read it. So write only in the sense we can update it. So let's do that. How we can do it? Okay. So to do that, I will create a one more class, test class. Okay. So I will create a test encapsulation class encap. So this is the another class. So here we have using main method and what we can do. So I want to use the encapsulation class example. So I will create an object here. Okay. So where we can create an object in the test encapsulation. So how to create an object of this class? So just simply by mentioning that object class name and object reference equal to new constructor. Right. Yeah. So here we can say that a class object creation. Okay, after creating an object, right, I can directly access the method of the class, right? So here I can use a set method. Okay, so set method. So if I pass that value, I'm setting the value as 100. Okay, so I'm passing the value as 100, right? So now it is allowing. Okay, so let me see that. So what is the exact declaration? Then we come back. Okay, so my private variable, right? I'm private my yeah. So this is a variable. It is a private variable. Okay, and we are providing the public method. Okay, so here is a public method. So we are allowing to set the value as a default value. What is the default value of integer? It is 0. So now we are setting from the test encapsulation method, and by creating an object, we are assigning the value as a 100. So by using the set method, we are passing set from 100 here, and this dot a and this one, and this dot a equal to a. So which means we will get 100. Okay. So how do we achieve? So make them private variable and public. Suppose if I make a declare, if I declare this method to private. Okay. So so I declare a private variable and a private method. So private in the sense within the scope only. So now you can see that in the outside of the class. So when after creating an object as well, okay, after creating object, if I access that private method, so it says that set has a private access modifier. You cannot call it. You cannot access it. Okay. So that is the case. What we can do, we can make them as a public. So public method can access outside, and we are changing the value to 100. Suppose the initial value is 50. Okay. The initial value is 50. So we can update to 100. That's also fine. So let me do this one. So to do that, we can we can print so diff initial value. So once it is initialized, right? What is the initial value? Is 50, right? Initial value, initial value of a. Okay. So how do we will call? So by class reference and a. So just a. So now we can get that initial value, and after that we are setting to 100. And let me print that after setting the value, after updating the value, after updating the a value. So what I have done, so simply first whenever it is initialized, right? Whenever it is initialized, it is a 50. So by using this particular method, which method? So that set a method. Set a in the sense we are setting the data, updating the data to new. Yeah. So you see, again one more error we got it. So as a member, okay, as a private access modifier. So you cannot access directly by using this particular private member, private variable, because so the scope of that, how the scope for the method, similarly the scope for the variable as well. So we cannot access it. Okay. So let me close, stop this one, and now we can check. So let me print in the within the method. Uh, Let me do one thing here. Yeah. So let's run this one and see. Yeah. Yeah, now you can see. Okay, here also we cannot see. So that is the case. So I got it the point. So here you can see similarly the statement only we change the total. So instead of that one, so we can print. We can call this enter method. So in enter method level, the return type must be okay. The return type must be the int, right? So that is the case. Let me check this one as well. Okay. So we need to call the set method, get method. So after setting, we need to call a get method. So get method, what it does? So get method will get the a value. Okay. So let me correct me here. So you can use this before and after. So it is my fault actually. Yeah. So now we can enable it and you can see. Okay. So let me, what I have done, I will explain the correction. So you see, the first one is like we declare a private variable, right? And we are setting from the public setter method. Okay, we are setting the data, and also we are accessing in the sense we are accessing the data from the another get method. So here it is a update. Okay, you is mean update. Here it is mean reading the data, updating data by using public methods. That's what the statement. Okay, Okay, so let me show you that what we have written in the test encaps method. So in the encaps method, encapsulation of get A. So initial get A is 50. So after setting of get A is equal to 100, then we are after updating the A value, we are checking with that. Okay, so this time we'll get the value. So you will get to know like whenever you implementing your own encapsulation in our framework, but the concept we have to learn. So basically, we need to focus on that encapsulation definition and declaration and how to the usage. Okay, and then after you will come to know the scenarios in the real time by practicing that. Okay, yeah. And so now we got a initial value is a 50 and update value is 100. So this is what that implementation of encapsulation. Okay, so the best example for encapsulation is the Java class. So if anybody interviews, they will ask, right? So you can say that best example for Java class is Java class only. Okay, so in Java class, what we have? We have like a variable. Variables are private and member like methods are public. So by using that, so in like there is a best example you can say in that generally in this standard Pojo classes. If anybody remember this Pojo classes, so basically Pojo classes will have like our own declaration, customized classes we can say. So suppose student class, student information. So you want to hold a student object. So we used to create a Pojo classes. Pojo classes will follow the rule encapsulation. So what they follow the rule? The variables are private and the methods are private. So give the access to the others. Okay. So the example of Java class and Pojo classes are satisfying the rule of encapsulation. Okay. Yeah. Suppose if I make this public, what will happen? So if I make the public, right? So I can update anytime we can access, right? People we can access directly. So instead of doing that way, so suppose if I access now, this last time error, right? Last we got error directly by using A, right? A we can access it. Okay. So what is the difference between here and here? So this is like object level. Okay. It is like no need to directly we can call because it is a public. Okay, public in the sense other class member can access it. So there is a control to others. Okay, for update or delete or access those things. But if you make them indirect, like indirect way of accessing is we are achieving by using encapsulation. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let me recap this one. So this is very important. So you have to tell that in the interview point. So encapsulation is wrapping the data variable and the data members. Okay, and you have to how to achieve. So declaring the private variable, okay, in the class and providing the access to that public methods. So method name is a default, and you can give any public method, not only getter setter. So I told you right, Pojo class will follow the getter setter methods. Okay, that is the case. The definition was intended. Okay, and so by using this method only, okay, we can modify or we can view. So we can view, we can retrieve the values, variable values. This is what it is. Okay. So restricting the data and making them private field. Okay. And there should be a return. Okay. Getter method have a return type as a must. Getter method must have a return type. Okay. Setter method